Hello everyone, welcome back to Into Sports. I'm your host Evan. Today I'm talking Chargers, but before I do, please click that subscribe button. 94% of you are not subscribed, so, do me a favor and click subscribe. But anyways, CBS Sports ranked the Chargers offseason as the third best in all the league. And one thing is clear to me. The Chargers are going to have a breakout season. They were a 7-win team last year. I think they are a 10 or 11 win team this year. So when I'm looking at a breakout team, I'm looking for a team that fixed their weakness. Think about the Miami Dolphins. 2 years ago, they had arguably the worst defense in football. Then in the offseason, they draft a ton of defensive players and back up the Brinks truck for defensive players in free agency. And they completely flipped their defense and they went from 5 wins to 10 wins. Last year, the Chargers' main weakness was offensive line. They had the 32nd ranked offensive line in the NFL last year according to Pro Football Focus. That's dead last. But then they go out in free agency and sign one of, if not the best center in football, Corey Linsley, and then they use the 13th pick in the draft on offensive lineman Rashawn Slater. So now, Pro Football Focus says the Chargers' offensive line is the most improved positional group in the entire NFL this offseason. Well, there you go. They fixed their biggest weakness. Offensive line isn't really that important. Why don't you tell that to the Chiefs? Because that was the difference in the Super Bowl a year ago. In fact, last year, of the 8 teams with the best offensive lines, 7 made the playoffs. Offensive line is a key factor in the NFL. It's a major predictor of success, and the Chargers just overhauled their unit in a big way. Normally with the breakout team, you have to bank on a quarterback taking a big leap, and that's often unpredictable, like last year. I thought the Broncos would take a massive jump because I thought Drew Lock would take a quantum leap towards top 10 quarterback territory. And now I just look stupid. But with the Chargers, Justin Herbert is already a star. He's a top 10 quarterback in this league after just 1 year. So you don't have to project a breakout season. Now the Chargers' breakout hopes are just about the rest of the roster. They're not about relying on a quarterback taking a leap. And this is where they remind me of the Cleveland Browns. The Chargers have all the talent in place. They have Derwin James, who's one of the 2 or 3 best safeties in the league when healthy. Joey Bosa, PFF ranked him the 3rd best edge rusher in all of football last year. He can get after the quarterback. Keenan Allen is a guy that's widely considered a top 10 receiver in the league, and he's playing alongside Mike Williams, who's their big play threat at receiver. Austin Eckler is Alvin Kamara-like, catching passes out of the backfield. So the Chargers, they have the pieces. They have the talent. But last year, they just weren't good in key spots. They lost a bunch of close games that could have gone either way. And the record did not reflect their level of talent. So whenever that happens in sports, you blame the coach. And the Chargers fired Anthony Lynn, and they bring in Brandon Staley, who led the #1 defense in football last year with the Rams. That actually reminds me a lot of when the Browns had all that talent 2 years ago, but they didn't look well coached at all under Freddie Kitchens. They move on to Kevin Stefanski last year, and they take off, going from 6 wins to 11. And I see the exact same thing happening with the Chargers this year. In fact, the comparisons between the Browns last year and the Chargers this year are just way too obvious. Both teams had the most improved offensive line according to PFF, Pro Football Focus. They had the talent, but they underperformed the prior year. And really that was because they were poorly coached the prior year. That was obvious. So what did they do? Both teams hire new coaches. Both teams have great receiving cores and really just great offensive skill position talent. And both teams have young ascending quarterbacks. The Browns were the breakout team last year, and there's just too many similarities to the Chargers this year. Now, actually, there is a difference. Justin Herbert is already a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. In fact, if I was to rank the AFC quarterbacks before I go back and watch the film, so my unofficial ranking, I think Justin Herbert is the 5th best quarterback in the AFC. And there are 7 playoff spots. Now, you take Deshaun Watson out because his team's horrible. They have no chance of making the playoffs. And he might not even play anyways. And all of a sudden, there's only 4 AFC teams with better quarterbacks. Once again, 7 playoff spots. In a league where quarterback is by far the most important factor on any team. So the rest of the Chargers roster doesn't even have to be ridiculously good for them to make the playoffs, because Justin Herbert can carry the team and make plays on his own and lead this Chargers team into the playoffs. So the Chargers will be this year's breakout team. They won their last 4 games last year, so they are clearly headed in the right direction. They have their quarterback, Justin Herbert, and I believe with new coach, Brandon Staley, their talent will finally lead to real success. I love how they addressed their weakness on the offensive line with Rashawn Slater, Corey Linsley, so improved up front. And I think this could be one of the most high-flying offenses in football. So much so that I think I would be surprised if this team didn't make the playoffs.